Welcome to this week's live. I am so excited because this topic that we're talking about today, normalizing fear, I think it's a topic that we need to address and talk about every day. Okay, how was your week? How are you doing? It's good to see you again. It's good to, be here with you each and every week on Tuesdays where we do live with Dr. Stem and just talk about different topics about life. I also have guests that join me during these lives. If you would like to be a guest, let me also start off by saying I would love to have you as a co-host here whilst we talk about a topic that is of interest or dear at your heart so that we can let the people know what you know as well as know what you do. I always am open to having guests come here with me because then guess what? Live with Dr. Stem is about inspiring, empowering, encouraging, and making sure that people have the right information that they need to live their best life. Normalizing fear is key. As I was coming up with this topic, I thought key to what? Because I'm that kind of person, right? That I'm always thinking deeper and I want to go deeper with topics. But then I thought key to what? It's literally key to everything. It's key to our personal lives. It's key to our relationships. It's key to the work that we do. It's key to our health, mental health, physical, spiritual health. Fear is something that I think we all experience in all aspects of life. When you heard the topic, normalizing fear, what came up for you? Because I know as I was writing it, and say, I know how to approach this topic. Normalizing fear is the way that I need to think and process and talk about it so that I can ignite such a way of thinking about fear and dealing with fear for you as well. So why do we want to normalize fear? We want to normalize fear because it is an acknowledgement when we normalize it that fear is natural. It's a natural and normal human emotion that we all go through. So whether it's in a joyful moment, in a really challenging moment, a fear is a normal emotion that happens to all of us. And it's important that we look at it as a normal reaction or a normal response. And remember now, if you've been listening to my lives, a reaction is something that really brings out the negativity. A response is something that calms us, relaxes us. But you know what? It helps us come up with solutions and different ways of looking at a situation. So whether we respond or react to it, we are all going to experience a fear right now as we still continue to deal with COVID-19 or the remnants of COVID-19. All of us are afraid. You see, I'm in Massachusetts right now. This will be my last week in Massachusetts, and here's what happens. Right, I went with my mom for the surgery and we went in the hospital, and it was 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks ago, I think, 2 weeks and some days now, right? In the hospital, the nurses, the receptionists, everybody was so excited, and they said, you know what, come the 22nd of May, we all don't have to wear masks. And the first thing that I thought of is, I'm in a hospital, why wouldn't I want to wear a mask or get excited to wear a mask? So my fear kicked in, right? And again, everybody was excited, but not everyone, is going to adhere to that. So that's a kind of fear that, what, as people are really putting down and they're saying, you know what, you don't have to wear your mask, we're all questioning ourselves to say, but am I safe? And that's the thing with fear. We always think about, if I don't think about, a certain situation and deal with a certain situation. Am I going to be safe? Am I going to be okay? So normalizing fear means you are going to be afraid, but how you respond to it is what is key. Not reacting, but responding to it is going to be key. Normalizing can also help us, manage fear more effectively. Because if I know that I'm going to be starting a new job, if I know that in my job they are establishing a new, maybe computer program or a new way of doing my work, a different way than I have been doing it, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be afraid, because then am I going to be able to do it? Is this going to come out, as an easier way of doing things than the way that I've been doing it? That brings fear for, right? I've been talking to some, people that are parenting as two parents in a household. The fear is, are these children going to come out and be the best citizens, that they can be? And sometimes they will, and sometimes they won't. But guess what? If we normalize that kind of fear and realize that, what, every parent, whether you definitely have a clue that my children will be okay, you're still going to be afraid of whether they'll be okay or not. Why do we need to normalize, fear? The other reason why we need to normalize fear is also because we want to be able to live our lives knowing that we gave it our best, right? We want to live our lives knowing that I took the chances, I took the risks, I did what I needed to do in order to make sure that I didn't shortchange myself in my life. Wouldn't you love to have that kind of feeling in the end, where you say, you know what? I lived it the best way that I could. I did my best. Whether, it's in a relationship where a relationship is coming to an end or came to an end, wouldn't it be good to just know that, you know what, I did the best that I could, but I couldn't control the other person or the other people, but I did the best that I could. Wouldn't it be good to know, if you are a person that is in business or wanting to do business, to know that you ran your business the best way that you could, fear and all. I remember when I started doing these lives. I'm a person that, I'm outgoing, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a coach, so I speak all the time. I write books, I do everything. But then for some reason, coming out live was something that I always thought, yeah. I have to really prepare myself now. When I go live, it's not just the one-on-one person that I'm talking to. I'm now talking to 300 people that will watch this, lives. Because many a time when we're doing live and you're starting off, you have one or two people that will look at it, but the people that will watch it, more are the people that come afterwards, right? And I remember talking to, my coach at that time, and she said to me, well, what you want to do is to build a relationship with people so that people know who you are. You also want to build rapport with people that, continuously are hiring you, and they know where your heart is. They know who you are. They know your philosophy. But just to get to know you, why would I want to work with you when I don't know you? And at that time, after I started doing, the lives. Now I'm so comfortable. I look forward to Tuesdays. I love doing these. And it's just like second nature, to know this. So whether there's one person whilst I'm doing this or two people that are watching it whilst I'm doing it, all I know is it is going further than what I can see with my own eyes. People are listening, people are being helped, with these lives, whether it pokes you to say, oh, what am I afraid of? As we're talking today, what are you afraid of? Yes. See, I wanted to talk about this topic today because then June is around the corner, and June is a reminder that we had 6 months of 2023 that we needed to have moved the needle in whatever goals and ambitions that we set ourselves to do for 2023. So before we even get to there, I wanted to ask you to check yourself on the fear, temperature. Do you think fear is playing a part in where you are right now? Do you think fear is playing a part in you not taking the next step to achieving the goals that you want to, achieve this year? Do you think fear is also holding you back in your personal, professional, business life? How much is fear playing into your life right now? Those kind of questions and answering those kind of questions will really move the needle really further than you can ever imagine. How much is fear playing into you not being or having what it is that your heart desires at this time? How much of that is fear? As I started realizing and recognizing that fear was playing a big part in my own personal life, I realized that, whoa, 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 I need to get out of my own way. Because many a time, that is the key. We look at outside sources, we look at, what I love about this is we can't look at education anymore as, oh, I'm not educated, or I don't have this degree, as the thing that we need to have in order for us to have the life that we want, the job that we want, the promotion that you want, the business that you want. We can no longer just look at it as, I don't have the right education. We can't do that anymore, because now it's about getting out of your own way and getting the training and the certification and the education that you need, if that's what you need. I know we talk about you don't need degrees, to be successful or to do things in life, right? But there are certain jobs, there are certain businesses that you definitely need to have some sort of training, some sort of education. And I believe that even today, that education is really key to a lot of things, because then we're always learning. It's not just about getting a degree or not, but we're always learning about something. And that to me is education. So we need to be open to education if we are going to overcome fear, if we are going to normalize fear. Because here's the thing, once you know something and once you do something one time, it becomes second nature. And when something is second nature, you are able now to look at fear and recognize it. And once you recognize the fear, it's easier to manage it when you know what it is that you're afraid of. So, having said that, let me just go ahead and talk about a few things that you can do in order to normalize fear, because there are certain steps that you're going to have to take in order for you to normalize the fear. The first thing is for you to recognize what your fears are. What are you afraid of? What is, how is fear playing a part into where, your life right now, where you are, your heart desires, your dreams of some things that you want? Or maybe just keeping you stagnant in a place where you are uncomfortable. So I'm not saying that where you are right now is unstable place to be in, but we all know ourselves. When you know that, what, I want more, I want better, we know that when that feeling comes, that means, what, fear might be playing a part into, what, might be the very thing that's preventing you from taking that very next step. So, what are you afraid of? How is fear playing a part in your life? Is the first thing that I would ask. I know I attended quite a number of conferences last year, as a part of me enhancing myself and also enhancing my business. And in those, conferences and workshops that I attended and also presented, many of us were asking ourselves, how can we let go of that fear that holds us back? How can we get over that fear of the unknown, the fear of success, the fear of failure? How can we get over that? And I realize now that we need to normalize that, because you're going to be afraid of success. You're going to be afraid of failing. You're going to be afraid of not being good enough. You're going to be afraid of not, giving enough. That is going to happen either way. But are we going to make that be the end all of what it is that we want to do? Or are you going to do like I did with these lives, where I came on and I'm continuing to show up no matter what? And that's what needs to happen. Show up no matter what. Do that very thing that you're afraid of, because behind or beyond those fears is this, beautiful, fearless you, unstoppable you that you desire, that you've been looking for. It's beyond those fears. I'm so excited because I've seen many of the women. I attended women conferences last year. Many of the women that I met at these conferences, I have seen them showing up. You're seeing them doing lives. I'm seeing them doing workshops. I'm seeing them doing their own seminars and conferences. And I'm seeing them, writing books and also coordinating books, for others to write. They are showing up. And what's so interesting and really exciting is there is room for all of us. So do not be afraid and say, I'm not going to be as good as Jane, as Mary, as, this person here, because nobody is like you. Normalizing fear means you are going to promise yourself that you're going to show up and do what it is that your heart, that whisper, is whispering to you, that, you know what, I know I'm good at this. And I know this is something that other people will benefit from. I know this is something that somebody else might be looking for, or that I only can present. When you normalize fear, you realize and recognize that you are unique. Your gift is unique. The things that you can give the world are unique. What usually gets in the way is us not believing that we're good enough. What usually get in the way is us comparing ourselves to the next person. See, with social media these days, right? It's really, a challenge. It's good and bad. Good in the sense that, you know what, you can outwardly and, impromptu, get out there, out of your own shyness, and get out of your own fears, and just go out there and say things and post things, and people will embrace you, and, some will not embrace you. But then some people are working towards, social media and coming up and doing videos and, audios, or even just postings. It's really a fearful thing to do that at all times. But when you do it and it's about you, improving yourself, and giving more of yourself, it's not about the other people anymore. It's about you showing up and sharing anyway, because unbeknownst to you, there are many that are watching and listening without you even knowing it. So it's important for you to continue to do that. On the other hand, social media can really be intimidating, because then the tendency to compare yourself with other people, the tendency to compare your work and what you're doing with that of other people is really high. So it's easier for you to back down and say, I'm not good enough, and let fear take over when it comes to social media or even other programs. Let me tell you, there is a customer for everyone. There is a life, that is ideal to everyone. So if there is one person that is teaching about lifestyles of the rich and famous, there's somebody that needs to teach about lifestyles of the middle class. And there's someone that needs to teach about the lifestyles of just having the basics that you need, because then we have people at all different levels in life that are looking for different information that matches with them. And what's good about it is, if somebody or some people do not match with what it is that you're putting out there, or who you are as a person, guess what? It's not the end of the world. It's just because they are not your people. Even if it's relatives, even if it's, friends, there are certain times in life where you're going to have to let go and not get yourself so involved with people that deplete your energy, and just make you feel in that, you know what, something doesn't feel good when I am with this kind of client, or with this kind of group, or with this kind of whatever it is in life. Normalizing fear means you now recognize, and you can allow yourself to say it's okay to be afraid, but then what do I do, and what can I do in order for me to continue to be myself, being the best version of myself, showing up anyway, even though I'm afraid. Be open to talking about your fears. There's no one that can really sit here and say, I'm not afraid, I've never been afraid, and I'm a person that got it all. Nobody has got it all. We all have different, phases where I might say in some situation I'm a 10 as far as managing my fears, that what, it's nothing. And then I have situations where I'm a 2, and then there's some situation that I really have to hold on to somebody, and to really lean on to friend, colleagues, coaches, counselors, and say, you know what, I really am afraid, and I don't know my way, and I don't know how to handle this situation, or how I can handle my emotions. And it's okay to do that, because as I do that, or as you do that, you tend to grow. So talking about emotions and feelings, you realize I'm talking about that, a lot, right? Because what happens is, for many people, you are by yourself. You don't have that other person, people that you really can really like talk about. These are things that I'm really afraid of. These are things that are happening in my life. So what do? We want to go, 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 and just continue going and living our lives anyway. But then at some point, we have to take a step back and really look at fear in the eye and say, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of this illness. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of success. And the key is, how do you really, really want to live your life? What do you really, really want for the rest of the days that you have now? We are in this phase where I'm now more aware of, the mortality, or people dying, and close people dying or getting sick and really losing them, more than I've ever been now, especially, beginning of COVID, and now during COVID, it's almost like every other illness has come to surface now, where that people will not live forever, and we're not living forever. So normalizing fear is like, I need to normalize this fear. Am I afraid right now? Yes, I'm afraid right now. I'm afraid right now of not being, that person that I dreamt myself being, of not living the life that I would want to live right now. Will I let that hold me back? Oh, no, 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 no. If you know me, I'm not going to let that hold me back. Why I always, also get excited when I talk about this, right? If this is the first time you're listening to me, guess what, I have an accent, which I haven't lost my accent. I'm originally from Zimbabwe. So being Zimbabwean and having lived in the United States for over 35 years now, right, it is something that I have to continuously remind myself that you do not, leave your home country and come to a land of opportunity and let fear take over and not live the life that you came here to live. You cannot miss on opportunities that are right here in this still the land of milk and honey. I don't care what goes on in America. I don't care how the world, gets to see it. But either way, for me as a foreigner, for myself as a foreigner, I'm still looking and making the most of the milk and honey that is in America. I still, am excited and proud, to be in this, country. So as a result, I could never be a better Zimbabwean if I do not, show myself and show up and really, make the most of this place in this moment that I'm in. I can't help my people back home, neither can I help, myself if I don't take advantage of that. And I've noticed that, throughout the years, the number one thing that holds us back is fear. At the end of the day, fear is what holds us back. But once we learn that you can actually learn how to deal with the different kinds of fears that you have identified, and you also can, align with other people that have gone through the same fears and are now doing, oh my God, wonderful and awesome, as if, they're fearless, and yet they had to work through their different fears, right? It's amazing when you realize that, and you allow yourself to go through and also take advantage of knowing what other people know, of doing what other people have done that has worked well. And then, that is one way that we can normalize fear. So fear is not, something that we can say it will never, never affect you, or that you totally, completely get over it. No, it's going to come, every now and then. And the funny part about it is you can get over one fear this year, and then next year you come across a different situation that, also calls you to deal with a different, the same fear that you dealt with the previous year. So seek support. Seek support of other people that have gone through what you're going through. Seek the support of other people that, are sharing, the support that will help you align with only yourself, not only yourself, but also align with other people that have gone through it and have overcome it. Whatever they have done, you take that and find your own way of normalizing your fear and dealing, with fear. You also want to challenge your thoughts, because the thoughts that we think, the experiences that we go through, if we don't deal with that, they'll always bring some sort of fear or anxiety that gets in the way, of what we're doing. And one of these lives, I want to talk about anxiety, because, as I'm getting older, with this, so this year I'm 58, I'm sensing and seeing that anxiety is real, and it's popping up a little more frequent than I would have known. So I want to talk about anxiety at some point. We're going to talk about that. If you're listening to this, and anxiety is something that, also you've struggled with, or you can see yourself now starting to feel anxiety, just type in there, underneath this year, and just say yes. If you do yes, I know you're talking about the anxiety, that you want to hear more about anxiety. You also want to use relaxation techniques, to find techniques that you can relax. One of the things that I do is acupuncture. I use acupuncture, excuse me, as a way of dealing with stress or fear and relaxation. I also do exercises, and mostly meditation. Meditation, mindful meditation, is really, really helpful. And I promise today I won't forget to put that link for the free meditations that I have, on online. I want you to be able to use them. They're guided meditations that you can use that really have helped me, especially when it comes to dealing with fear. Make sure that you do breathing exercises to relax yourself, because sometimes if we allow the fear, let's say, something comes up, and then you find yourself being in a fearful mode, you don't want to feed more into that fear, and have that fear stay. So it's almost like I always tell people, right? It's like a car that's crashing. If you allow one thought to stay with you, that is a fearful thought, more thoughts will come that way. And just like the car is rolling down and going to crash, if you don't apply just slightly brakes, or slightly drive, so you can reduce the speed of the thoughts that are going on, you will crash. You'll have what we call a mental crash. And, what I call a mental crash, where emotionally, mentally, you crash. So you want to be able to stop it by mindful meditations, our meditation that helps the thoughts come to a stop and practice that. As I said in the first, I said identify your source of fear. Doing that will really, really help you know what your fears are and be able to manage, your fears. So I hope that this talk has helped you at least bring to surface the term normalizing fear. When you normalize it and realize that, you know what, I'm going to be afraid anyway, but I need to do what I need to do, you will be surprised how this next 6 months will go for you, because 2023, I'm telling you, many people are taking big strides. I know I'm working on quite a few projects that are really going well, because as I come here on live, I address the very things that I've been going through, and all of a sudden it's like, where there's a will, there's a way. So until next time, remember, normalizing your fear is key. This is Dr. Stem. Be encouraged.